Okay, so judging from the title, I'm guessing you know why you're looking at this video. This is a homemade Jeep peg or foot peg for YJ. This is an 88. Just got it, well, not too long ago, and I took the doors off for the summer and have been playing around with it. So I quickly found that I wanted a place here to put my foot, or the tip of my boot. On the way to work, I typically am wearing some kind of leather work boot, and then on the weekends or something, it's going to be some kind of flip-flop. But you can see here that this half-inch bolt gives me a little bit of traction and stuff like that, just to kind of keep my foot from sliding off. It works pretty decent so far on the trip around the neighborhood. I've got to paint it yet, but I wanted to show this video before I painted it, and just kind of give a little quick rundown on what it took to make it and what parts were used. So I'm going to take it off the door real quick and we can chat about it. I went to Home Depot and picked up everything I needed. I did have a little bit of fuel hose and some heat shrink here at the house, so those things I did not purchase, but I think this is close to $6 in bolts. I have two eye bolts here. I have these eye bolts, actually. These are the 5/16 by 4-inch bolts with the nut, and you're going to end up using both of the nuts, so make sure you have those on there. I heated one of them up with a torch, put it in the vise, and then just used the end of a wrench to bend it over and give it that probably 45-degree angle, and that became my like spin stop or over travel stop or whatever you want to call it. So even with tightening this thing down, it's still going to wiggle a little bit when you put the weight of your tail on this little foot peg with your foot on it. So I had seen that in other things like on Jeep forums and stuff like that, so I knew I needed to stop here. I heated it up, then ran the bolt down, put a piece of fuel hose on it just to prevent any damage to the body. You can see previous attempts scuffed my cheap paint job, so that's disappointing. But either way, you can see now that with my foot on the peg, the fuel hose is going to physically hit the body and keep it from doing any damage. I do have a little bitty fuel hose washer down here on the bottom with a regular steel washer and the nut when tightening it down, so I can get it pretty snug. But I noticed that from other people doing it, there's still a little bit of play here, so I wanted to take the majority of that out. If you used the dome nut like this one is, you still have a little bit of clearance. I don't know if you can see that at that angle. You still have a little bit of clearance between the Jeep, so I've got to figure out if I want to put something in there or not, just to kind of keep it from doing it. But to be honest with you, it's an 88, so I probably am not going to worry too much about that. But let's get started on what it took to kind of put it together. It's fairly obvious, honestly. If I sit here for a second and hold it, you can see exactly how this is done. This was one of those things that I found on a Jeep forum and kind of did my own take on it. I did have a little bit of an issue tightening this down with a dome nut. There's no way to put a wrench on it or anything like that, so I did have to kind of use leverage of this and against the Jeep and stuff like that to really tighten this washer down and kind of give it that tightness enough to concave it a little bit. But I wanted it really, really tight before I put it on the Jeep. I didn't want to be driving down the road and this thing spin down or something stupid, so if you're gonna do it, go ahead and do it. I haven't painted it yet. I will paint it. The stuff I've got is just this regular black paint or whatever. We'll see how this stuff covers. Not sure yet, but on anything, as far as like my boot being on it, it's probably gonna wear off. Is what it is. I really just want to protect these areas that were heated and stuff like that to prevent rust and stuff like that in the future. So let's see. Underneath this fuel hose, I did have to add a little bit of duct tape just to get some friction to keep this hose on. It was a little bit bigger, so it was sliding off. The fuel hose, I got at O'Reilly's. It's this stuff right here. I needed some replacement stuff for the Camaro, so it's kind of leftover spares. I did have some heat shrink that I put here to go through the hinge portion, so I heated that down just to kind of prevent any real hard chafing or wearing right here at the top of the hinge. I didn't want to just mar the inside of it with this bolt, because I figured that would kind of over time be like a sawing motion and just create a rust spot and stuff like that. So I'm not super worried about the whole thing, but I wanted to try to protect as much as I could. This whole thing here probably cost $6 to $7. you probably have things in your house or in your garage or whatever that you could use to kind of replace some of the things here too. You might even have all these parts with you. I did notice that the bottom, and this is how the bottom will go, a little fuel hose washer, a regular washer, and then the nut that came with the eye bolt to tighten it up. I did notice that, sorry, bees are apparently around. I did notice that the wing nut would not work. I saw somebody had a wing nut, but the clearance was not there to spin the wing nut all the way around between there and the Jeep body. So you can see there's already a little bit of nicking and damage coming from the door, so I'll have to clean all that stuff off. You can see that's peeling up a little bit, but we'll take care of all that nonsense. Anyways, yeah, so there's not too much clearance here to get the wing nut to go around, so I went ahead with the regular bolt. Overall, sitting in the seat, and I will show that real quick. I guess I can get all these little things out of here. I've been trying to do something homemade, you know, last night and for a couple hours, and it's like, you know what, let me just Google this nonsense and see what's going on. So, alright, here's a good angle of what it would be like sitting in the seat, so I'm going to try to get exactly like how I would normally sit, and that would be about how I would normally do. So that's pretty good, a pretty good little footrest. I really just want something the heel can sit on there, and then just something to give yourself a little pressure other than just that little nub. I was using just the little hinge itself and kind of catching the corner of my boot, but when you're driving, you're constantly adjusting your foot and all that kind of stuff. So this is definitely going to be nice, and I don't have to worry about it coming off. I do know you can buy some, so before making it, I would definitely go to Amazon and see what they have for your year Jeep. This is an 88 YJ, so for the YJs there was like a pair for 44 bucks and stuff like that. Some of the other ones might work, but I was like, you know what, $6, let me just make this crap and get it over with, and I don't have to worry about it not working or anything like that. So, and if it doesn't, then is what it is. I also purchased a backup plan. I'll show you that real quick. If that didn't work, I bought a stock of rod, and I was going to bend one. This is the solid rod from, oh, there it goes. This thing. That's the solid rod from Home Depot. I don't know, let's see if that'll focus. And nothing important, there we go. So this is 3/8 by 36 inches. Nice and upside down for you, I know you'd like it. And that would fit just perfect. So I might use this to maybe make some kind of mirror mount or something like that. It's 36 inches, so I was going to cut it in half and then just bend some stuff up with a torch and then make one that was kind of just a friction hold. I tried this and this worked, so I'll probably be fine with it for now. I do think that, you know, something here would definitely be needed to protect your super good paint job. And other than that, I appreciate you watching. I know it's been a lack of videos lately, but I finally graduated college, so it's only what, I'm 34, so I waited a little bit too long. I did do the Marine Corps first to kind of help pay for all that kind of stuff. So either way, any other Marines out there, Semper Fi, and everybody else, thanks for watching.